Hello, it's me. This is DGSD 395 and I'm doing a stream for section 2 now. At least I hope I am. It does look like I am broadcasting and my audio looks okay, but I've got a lot of windows open and things going on, and my computer has been slowing down a lot in the last few minutes. So I'm hoping that you can still, things are going to work well enough for a little while. I don't plan on streaming for the whole time today. If you look at the schedule, in fact, I planned not to do a stream, but I wanted to do one at least briefly to show you a couple things. And if you had not planned on tuning in live, that's understandable because I didn't tell you that I was going to be live, but it'll be in the archive. You know, the video will be available later, so it should be all right either way. But I wanted to first of all look at some things in the Python. Actually, before I look at the notebook, I wanted to explain something that I am assigning for you to look at for homework over the weekend. And I wanted to demonstrate it first because it will seem rather unusual to you and pretty weird and creepy if you just try it yourself, possibly. So I wanted to introduce it to you and show you that it's okay. Basically, it's not as creepy as it looks. So let me do that first, and then I'll look at some stuff in the Python notebook because I wanted to explain some of the things going on with code there, and then we're going to do a discussion of the Hang the DJ, the Black Mirror episode, and we're going to use Discord for that conversation. So we'll see how that goes. We'll use the breakout rooms again for text conversations, and I want to also try the voice channels for a actual voice conversation. So stay tuned for a moment for that, but hopefully you all are doing okay. Getting ready to, going into the weekend. The weather looks nice. Probably going to try to go hiking tomorrow. See how that goes. But let's take a look now at this first. So this is something called Storyface, and this is there's a link to it from the, let me switch that back here. So from the Python notebook, this is Friday. So on Friday, you'll notice that this is after class. So after class today, I'd like for you to take a look at this. You can install it on an Android phone with through the Play Store. It's free. Or you can use it in a web browser. If you do use it in a web browser, you'll need to have a webcam. And I would like for you to try it out and just kind of record your thoughts and notes so that we can talk about it a bit on Monday. It is thematically relevant to what we're talking about right now. It is a dating app, and what this does, it's not a real dating app, I should say, but it is a dating app where, the sales pitch for it as a dating app is that when you are meeting someone online and you know them only online, you might always wonder, is this the real them? Like, is this the real person? Am I really getting to know the true person on the other end there? Or are they somehow, pretending to be a certain way in order to make me like them, and so we'll get to know each other and meet up in real life. So the premise of this app is that it uses facial tracking and facial recognition technology to add your true emotions to text messages, as opposed to letting you pick an emoji like a character to insert here. It actually records what it interprets as your real emotions when it sends a chat message. So this is how it looks. As you can see, I've got two webcams here, and it actually has been tracking my face, even though I wasn't holding it near my face. But I'll take that. I'm a little older than that, but I'll take 30-ish, late 30s. Actually, I'm going to hold it up here so you can see a little bit better what it's doing. So I'm going to try to look at the camera that's recording here, and it is tracking my face, and yeah, it gets older. Like, the closer I get, the older it thinks I am. So maybe I should keep it, keep the details down. It is interesting. Look how different the two webcams make me look. I think that's pretty interesting too. Okay, so this is, once I get this set up, I'm gonna pick, 45 is, it's close enough, I guess. That's still a little disappointing. I don't think I look that old. I'm not that old, but I will click on this and say that we'll go ahead and accept it, and then I'm going to click on, I'm looking for women, just to match with women, and then show you how this works. Okay, now what we see here is the emotion tracking. So let me see if I can hold this in a different place so I can see both at the same time. So what it's doing here is it's basically training me in how to perform different emojis. And I'm trying to make my face look certain ways. No, I don't. I didn't want that one. Can I try again? Okay, so I'm trying to make myself look a certain way. There we go. I'm angry. This is my angry face. You have to hold the face long enough for it to match it. I'm gonna turn on the audio. It's probably weird. I don't know. I don't actually know what the audio sounds like here because I can't hear it. I'm trying to get the angry. No, I don't. I don't want to be angry. I'm not actually angry. I want to try to get the happy face. I keep thinking I'm scared. Okay, I'm not. But all right, we're gonna go ahead anyway. Here we go. Now I'm ready to find love. Now, just to be clear, the people that you're interacting with on this are not actually on the other end of this. These are all pre-programmed. This is a scripted interactive thing. So you're interacting with it, but these are not actually people on the other end. So when you are matching with someone and potentially you get to the point where you can exchange phone numbers, I don't recommend doing that anyway, just sending your phone number, at least not your real one, but you're not actually sending your phone number. There's no collection on the other end. There might be logs or audits of some sort, but they're not going to call you. So let's see. So this is Paula. She seems nice, but let's see who else we have. Tana? Sheila? Okay, let's match with Sheila. And let's see how this looks. Okay, so Sheila has asked me if I clean my house often. So now I have 4 things I can reply with, and I have to make sure that my facial expressions match the emoji on the message I select. So let's say all the time. Okay, great, it worked. She says, me too, we are meant to be happy or surprised. Do you like to cook? Yes, I love cooking. I'm a really bad cook. I'm a decent cook. Let's see if I can match. I'm a really bad cook. Oh, I got it wrong. So the app has accused me of lying. The app says, why do you pretend to be frightened when you are actually surprised? 2 more lies and we'll let Sheila know you're lying. Okay, I promise I won't lie again. She says, oh no, this won't work. I'm a bad cook too. Sad face. And she left a chat. Okay, great. Well, that didn't work out. Sorry, Sheila. Let's see. Lucy, who is 3 years old, which seems weird, incorrect. I could try to match with Sheila again, but let's see who else is here. Anna, okay. Judith. Okay, let's match with Judith. Let's see what happens here. Okay, how many times a day do you wash your hands? 2 or more if I've been doing dirty jobs. See, what does it have to be flirty? Let's do, who's counting? Did I get it right? I got the right one. Good. Please answer my question. Do you remove your shoes when you enter someone's house? Only if someone asks me to. Why would I want to do that? Yes, of course. Let's try yes, of course. But I'm going to give it the wrong face. Why do you pretend to be happy when you're actually sad? 2 more lies and we'll let Judith White know that you're lying. I promise I won't lie again. Continue. How many bottles of sanitizer do you get through a month? This whole thing was created before the pandemic, I should note. So these questions about sanitizer used to be a little bit less familiar. What sort of question is that? A bottle usually lasts me a while. I don't work in a hospital or anything like that. I got the wrong. Did I get the wrong? I think I got the wrong. I thought I got the wrong face there, but she doesn't seem to care. Or, oh, there she is. Why do you pretend to be angry when you're actually frightened? 1 more line will let Judith know that you're lying. Okay, I promise I won't lie again. What is the most important thing for you when choosing a holiday destination? Good local beers at the bar, the architecture in local museums, nice pool. So these are all supposed to be happy. Let's go with a nice pool. Not that that's actually true. Why do you pretend to be happy when you're actually put off? Judith White has been noticed that you're lying. Promise I won't lie again. And she left the chat. She said lies have to be washed. Okay. Interesting. So that's a typical experience. But I want you to have your own experience. I want you to try this out, and I wanted to show you that it's okay to do this. You're not really matching with anyone. There's no one on the other end. Judith is not a real person. that is disappointed in me. I don't think so. You can, if you succeed, like if you successfully have a conversation in a way that matches the other person's interest and so on, you can, they will ask for your phone number, and then that's it. And then that ends that conversation, and then you can see if anyone else wants to match with you or not. So again, this is Storyface. It's an app you can download in the App Store, the Play Store. I don't believe it's on Apple, but it is definitely on Android because I've used it there. If you do it on a website, through the web, you have to have a webcam enabled and work with it that way. Okay, so I'm going to shut this part down and show you some things here in code. So this is Python, our notebook, and I wanted to go back actually to Wednesday. Actually, I'll go back to Monday first, because if you remember from Monday, there was a bit of code that I gave you that has an error in it, and my instructions were to try to figure out how to solve that error, how to get around that error on your own. And I imagine you've done a couple of different things. You've probably done some trial and error. You've probably Googled it. Maybe you've asked somebody. All of those are fine. I just want you to record whatever you did that worked. What led you to the right answer if you found it. If you didn't find the right answer, I will show you an answer right now. But even if you found a different answer than what I show you, that's still okay, as long as it works and you understand why it works, and really I want you to understand how you got there, how you learned the right answer. So here's what's happening. If you remember, the plus sign in Python is polymorphic, meaning it depends, what it does depends on the context. So if the thing on the, let's see, so you can see if the thing on the left is a number and the thing on the right is a number, the plus sign in the middle means addition, and it's just going to add this one to that one. If the thing on the left is a string and the thing on the right is a string, it's going to concatenate those strings together into a longer string. If the thing on the left is a string and the thing on the right is an integer, it does not know which thing to do. It does not, the plus sign does not know if it is supposed to do addition or concatenation, and it says, hey, I'm confused, and it throws this error. And the error here says, it must be string, not integer. And so what we should look at here is which of these things is not a string. And the thing here that is not a string is score, because score here is an integer. So to fix this, we need to transform score into an integer, or that's one way to solve it. So we can fix this a couple other ways, I think, but the way I'd like to fix it is by transforming the score into an integer so that it will print and concatenate just fine. So here's what I'm going to do. There is a nice function called string. You notice here, string is always abbreviated str, so we can use str, the function, which if we call that function, it will transform whatever we send to it as an argument, which in this case is that value score. It'll transform that into a string. So if I run this now, I'm going to get the first line here works, right? Score equals 0. Now it prints out the score is 0. The second part didn't work because I haven't fixed that yet, so that error shows up again, pointing to a different place in the code. And so if I fix both of them, I should get what I originally intended here, which is it should say the score is 0, and then it should say the score is now 50. So let me run that and see if that works, and it does. So great. So that's the answer, or that's my answer. I think you can do it a couple other ways, but that's the way that made sense to me. And if you have another way that makes sense, that's great. I'd like to see it, so make sure you put that in the notebook and talk about how you got to that point. Okay, so let's move down into Friday, or let me take a look at a couple things from Wednesday actually first. So this was the code practice after Wednesday's class. This is mainly talking about lists and dictionaries. So on Monday, the main learning there was, the main idea was that we had 3 different data types that we needed to know about at that point. Strings, which are just text, integers, which are whole numbers, floats, which are decimals. There are lots of other data types, including data types that are really groups of data. And so what we have here are lists, and what we have down here are dictionaries. A list is, like the name implies, just a list of values, and those values can be anything. They can be other types of data. They can be strings, they can be integers, they can be floats, they can be other lists, they can be dictionaries. It doesn't really matter. All that a list knows is like these things are together as a list, and each element in that list, each value in that list, all it knows as far as its relation to that list is where it lies in that list, like what position it's at. That's the only way to refer to specific parts of it. So there are lots of good tutorials obviously out there, and I happen to like W3 Schools for their simplicity. So W3 Schools has a really good explanation of lists, including a lot of things that I don't cover in the notebook because I just thought they're not super important at this point, and there's a lot to it, so I thought this would be, it would make sense just to go here. And you can just click on the try it yourself button here to try it out and see what happens. What I recommend doing is run their code as it exists originally, but then make a change to it and see what happens. So this is showing you how to do a list slice with indexes. So that colon there that says to pick item number 2 and go all the way to item number 5. And then make a new list out of that and then print it. So there's kind of a lot going on there, but you can see how you can try that and understand it better if you try to manipulate it and change it and see what difference your change makes. That's a good way to learn code, is take some code that works, mess with it, and see if you can get it to do something different. So that's a good strategy in general. Okay, now down here, these are dictionaries. Sometimes when you want to store a group of things together as a single value, a dictionary is a good way to do it. A list, like I said, you can only refer to list elements by number. For dictionaries, you can refer to an element by its name. So really what you're doing is you're naming elements when you create a dictionary. And the name for this data structure in Python is a dictionary because that's how real language dictionaries work. You look up a word and then you see what that equates to, like what the definition of that word is. So here, health is defined as 100. Here, charisma is defined as 50. Here, strength is defined as 89. And that way, later on, let's say I want to know what is the health, but I don't remember what order I wrote that in initially, so I want to be able to refer to it by name. So I want to be able to say, okay, what is the player's health right now? That's how you can do that with a dictionary. An object is a more robust way of doing this kind of thing. An object creates a class as a template for a data structure, and then you have to fill things out in the template. It's more practical than a dictionary for this particular application, but it should be okay. I just realized, do I have desktop audio going still? I just heard something. Is that dating apps? Is that dating show still playing? Can you hear that? It's in my headphones. I'm going to turn that off. I don't know. It looks like the volume was pretty low, so hopefully that wasn't too distracting. But you gotta tell me these things when things sound weird. Hopefully that wasn't too bad. And hopefully that's off now. Okay, great. Moving on. Almost done here. So these are dictionaries again. Just kind of play with it, see how it works, and also as I'm saying here, change the value and see what happens. Okay, now here's Friday. We're going to talk about Hang the DJ, which you've already watched, and then the code practice for today is getting into something called functions. So lists and dictionaries can bundle data together. Functions can bundle code together. So now we're really getting into doing things with our code. We were really defining things early on, and now we're actually going to do things and find something out. And we're going to do that with some functions. So this is a very simple starter that I've created here. So this is an example of a function, and my instructions here say to first of all think about what is about to happen in this cell, write down your theory, your prediction, and then run it, and then down here write about what happened, what really happened. Is it what you expected? If so, why did that happen? If not, what did you misunderstand about what was going to happen? And see if you can figure that out. It's a good practice to kind of internally model code so that you can predict if something's going to work or not, and that helps you write it a lot faster because you can just write things that you're pretty sure are going to work. It also helps you come up with what kinds of things can be done with code. So whenever you look at a particular problem, knowing what kinds of things Python can do helps you decide is the solution for this problem right now a computer program. That helps you evaluate that much more clearly, because sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's better just to do something rather than running a program to do it for you. So what I've done here, I set up 3 little dictionaries, Amy, Frank, and Nicola, based on characters from that episode of Hang the DJ, and I gave them some values. Now these are just some sample values, obviously, and you may disagree with these numbers. That's part of your job here, is to correct these numbers and complete these profiles. What are the attributes of a person that a dating app would need to know about them in order to find the right match for them? And then, here's the real challenge. How would you decide which of those attributes are important when you're evaluating a match? So I'm asking you to write some pseudocode here. Writing a function that actually compared the numbers could be pretty intensive, and I'm not asking you to do that yet. I'm just asking you to think through how you would do that. So you can write it in a way that looks kind of like Python if you want to, or you can even just describe it narratively, like write a paragraph explaining what you think your code would need to do, your function would need to do in order to go from this to a match, like to be able to say, based on these results, based on this comparison, Amy and Frank are a 99.8% match. So think through that and write it out there, and then I'll ask you to share some of that as well. Okay, so I'm seeing in Twitch that some of you were reporting that you did hear the audio, but should be gone now, so hopefully that's not distracting anymore. Yeah, that was just an episode of the dating game from the 1960s. Okay, so that's it. And then the homework, the things to get ready for class on Monday, in addition to that code practice, is there's a couple of things here. The Merger, which is a short film. Let me show you. There's one thing about this film that's not obvious to some people, or they don't notice or realize about this. It actually is a film that's shot in 360 degrees. So when you click the play button and you start watching it, you can actually look around if you click and drag. So pretty interesting, pretty clever idea. I don't know if this works with VR goggles, actually. It might. I should try that. But that's what I'm suggesting there, is that, look around, and that might change your experience of it. As you can see, it's fairly short, but presents an interesting idea. And then if you want to look at or listen to this is a podcast by Radiolab, and it's called The $1 Million Microsecond, and it's all about how algorithms are influencing financial markets. So this episode is a bit older now at this point, but it's interesting to think about how things already in 2013 were very much algorithmically, programmatically controlled. So check that out. All right, and I do plan to live stream again on Monday, so be ready for that. Okay, so at this point, unless there's any questions or things you'd like for me to show you, I'm going to shift gears into Discord, and I will ask you to join me there if you're not there already, which you probably are already there. So here's what we're going to do. Somebody, by the way, I created the Pictures of Pets channel in case you have a pet you feel like sharing there, and so I appreciate those of you who have done that. So Matt just shared Miko, who looks like an Australian Shepherd? I don't know, so a dog, and Peanut the cat, and a picture of Nelson the bird, and several other cats, which is great. And of course my fish, or my daughter's fish, who she gave me permission to share. Her name is Tasha. The fish is named Tasha. My daughter is named Serena, not Tasha. Okay, so what we're going to do, I would like to ask you, if you don't mind, if you're willing to try this, you can join me over the vocal chat. If you want to, you don't have to. If you don't have a microphone, you don't have to. If instead you'd like to just chat in the breakout rooms, that's fine. I'm still just using the generic breakout rooms, so don't worry about which one to be in. I will pose a different question in each of those, and then you're welcome to respond to whichever questions you think are interesting, and then kind of take it from there with whoever is there responding. So I did just see a question from Jules, who has a question about a weekly blog, and no, there's not. I'm not requiring a weekly blog at this point. There will be something like that a little bit later on, but not yet. So I don't know if Jules, if you're watching right now, but that's something that is not required at this point. Okay, so let's see. It's going to take me a minute to kind of switch the stream off and switch my microphones and headphones around. So I will be online in the general voice channel, and also in the text channels for breakouts 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, for each of those, I'm just going to pose a different question and invite you to respond to that question and run with it in whatever way you need to. We're talking about that episode of Hang the DJ, episode of Black Mirror called Hang the DJ, which was on Netflix. And I'm curious to see what you noticed and what you thought about and what your questions are. Okay, so thanks for watching the stream. I'm going to shut it off here, and I will see you or hear you hopefully in Discord in a moment or two. Bye.